Kamala voters say Trump supporters are Nazis, want Trump in prison. Well, this is no shock to us, but it's still news nonetheless. If he wins in November, it will be the birth of the American Nazi Party, with him at the top of it. This is what happens when you don't teach people things in the education system, or you don't have parents that teach you things as well. I forgot the stat. We talked about it before. I think it's 18 to 34-year-olds. Like 64% have no idea the Holocaust ever happened or don't believe that it happened. It's a massive problem. It's a big problem. The fact that this guy's calling Republicans the Nazi Party is really head spinning. It is a wild thing to say. I don't think that the Democrat Party is a Nazi party. You would have more of a case to be made. It'd probably be a better, closer analogy than the Republican Party, just because there's more socialists inside the Democrat Party than there are the Republican Party. I don't think Democrats or even progressives are Nazis, by the way. You won't ever really hear me say that. Do I think Democrats and progressives are sometimes dum-dums? Definitely the left. The lefts are idiots. That's a toxin to the country. That is evil. Democrats, no. Democrats are the same people that I hound here because I don't understand why in God's green earth you would sit there and vote for Kamala. And in some cases, they are idiots. In some cases, they are. In the same way, I'm an idiot in some cases throughout my life. So it's not like every situation when I say, oh, they're idiots, oh, they're stupid. That's just not in every situation, just in the situation of which I'm talking about. You have the Daily Wire outside Harris's speech at the Ellipse. So I got the clip here for you. Look at this guy. You know he blew that balloon up with his mouth too.
So tell me a bit about Trump's agenda and what about it is most scary, most concerning to you?
He says that he's going to take anybody who disagrees with him and put them in jail. And from there, he's going to deport them out of the United States altogether.
And I think he...
Do you notice that they're always talking in very broad terms, like they're never specific, right? Because the second they have to be specific, all of a sudden they realize, oh, it's not that bad. So when you go, hey, those criminals that he wants to lock up because they committed crimes, you know, they're raping and killing our children and our women and our wives and our girlfriends, all those things. Yeah, he wants to lock those people. You know, the same people that are selling fentanyl in the masses that have killed more people again in 1 year, the entire war of Vietnam. Yeah, that's kind of a problem, right? If somebody came in and started massacring hundreds of thousands of Americans, you would probably want something to be done, correct? Yeah, I would think so. When you're selling off, I'm going to be generous. It's 350,000, right? But I'm going to be generous. I'm going to say 30,000 children into forced labor or sex trafficking. Yeah, I would say that's probably an issue that we need to handle. So when you throw those people in jail and then you want to deport their ass, yeah, now your entire logic kind of disappears. So when they're general, right, and they don't have to face the actual thing of which Donald Trump wants to do, well, you know where things go.
Wants to basically turn this into a white Christian nation, which it is not.
He hates everyone. He hates his followers, and he will totally try to destroy all life on earth before he dies. That's who the Trump is.
What the hell did I just watch? What the fuck?
Do you think that the rhetoric of him being a Nazi or a fascist might encourage other people who are going to try and take him out, you know, violently?
I mean, I don't know if that's the leap I would make. I think it is a totally reasonable assumption. I mean, Elon Musk is wearing a Make America Great hat in the Nazi font. That was definitely the vibe there. It was frightening.
Could somebody Google Nazi font? I don't think that's a thing. I've never heard of it.
And disgusting.
He is. He's a damn Nazi. He's a fascist. Of course he is.
Yes, I think he's a full fascist authoritarian.
What I will say to you is if he wins in November, it is going to be the birth of the American Nazi Party with him as the top of it.
What do you think America looks like if Trump wins? I mean, we've been hearing that he's a fascist or that he's a Nazi. Do you agree with those characterizations of him?
Yeah, he's the most repulsive person in public life.
He's a floating island of trash, him and his supporters.
If you can't tell Trump is the most blatantly obvious criminal of all time, oh, you. You committed treason, and we hate your guts.
You have a binary choice. You can either vote for a good qualified politician, or you can vote for the Donald Trump, who is a big red pimple on the act of the American body politic.
I hope he goes to prison. I think he should go to prison. The guy's a criminal. He's so corrupt.
And we definitely need to not have Trump be be around anymore.
We have to come out and stop them. They don't get to be the Nazis on our street. They don't get to turn our police into, their Gestapo. F them. If they want to bring on the violence, America will kick their ass.
Well, thank you very much. Any last messages you want to leave the audience with?
Yeah, love wins in the end.
Oh, God, the Daily Wire, that was good. Did you notice the I am Jesus sign on this guy's guy? I don't know what this is, to be honest. The I am Jesus. Do you guys see that down there? The I am Jesus. And then where's this guy at? Where's this guy at with the facts matter down there? Oh, God, you got to love it. Like I mentioned, it's an astonishing thing that they don't realize that it was their party that created slavery. I should say created slavery. Their party that took part in slavery, wanted to keep it. And then it was also their party that created the Ku Klux Klan. It was their party, the Democrat Party, that has done most of the almost every single assassination has been done by a Democrat. Remember, Party of Love. It's just not too long ago. It was Antifa that masquerades as anti-fascists, which are actually just fascists, burning down your cities along with Black Lives Matter. It was a Democrat Party that wasn't Republicans. It's an astonishing thing where these people, you have to turn a blind eye to all this stuff, right? A blind eye. It is the Democrat Party that has been the party of political violence for a very long time.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been.
Did you notice how long? I mean, this goes on, folks, for a good while. It is the party of violence. It is the party that wants to hurt people. It is the party that wants to harm everybody. And we did an episode yesterday on this whole idea of Donald Trump talking to Tucker Carlson. They did a poll talking about how one side feels about the other. They did an observational study on this. And what they found was that Republicans think that Democrats are ignorant. That was the term that they used. Where Democrats think that Republicans are evil. And the reason for that is a lot of Republicans at one point or another in their life were Democrats. And so they look at themselves as, I was a Democrat because I was just ignorant. Once I looked into the facts, once I looked into the founding, once I was able to assimilate and make connections to how this country was created, to where it was and where it ought to be and how we can get there. Well, all of a sudden they just determined that as ignorance of who they were back then. And that's how I was. I was not always a Republican. My dad kind of gave me the values I needed to be instilled in me to become that later on. And then Democrats, because they're just in their own milieu, their own bubble, they just think that we're evil. And I also want to echo, that is what you saw with them calling us Nazis, racist, bigots, sexist, homophobes, all those things. I've wanted to do this show for a lot of years, over a decade. I used to do a YouTube show called The Bradley D Show. You won't find it on YouTube because I deleted it a long time ago before I ever became an accountant. I used to do a news show in my bedroom, believe it or not, called The Bradley D Show. And, people call you Nazis, racist, and all these things. And, you don't want people to get pissed off at you, even though you aren't those things. Long story short, when Gina Carano got deleted or whatever, and that whole thing happened, I'm like, you know what does it matter then? I might as well just come on and do what I want to do as a hobby. I'm saying my opinions. None of it's outlandish. I'm not asking for the death of people unless they're terrorists and trying to kill your women and children and yourselves. Like, I don't think anything I say on here is kind of bonkers, right? So I might as well just say what I'm going to say, because they're going to say we're all racist anyways, right? They're just going to name call us no matter what we do. So we might as well just come in and just speak our minds. That's why we have the Bald Brad Show today.